Hey, my name is Jermaine Campbell. I'm a filmmaker. My Nakwakta and Guasala family and friends know me as Numuguis. My father is a descendant of enslaved African folks who, as far as I can tell, were dropped off in Virginia and made their way to North Carolina, met up with some Cherokee folk. My dad was in the Army and he went to the West Coast to do some training. We ran into my mom, whose folks came from Scotland, wound up in Ontario, and met up with some Mi'kmaq folks. So that's where I come in. Mix all sorts of things, and yeah, proud of them all. As confusing as it can all be sometimes, but it's a beautiful thing. So far as the North American experience goes, Indigenous folks and Black folks are the only two folks that didn't come over here by choice. Indigenous folks were already over here, and we came over kicking and screaming, being drugged by oppressors, and that gives you a wildly different relationship to the American dream than, say, somebody who saved up all their shekels there and decided to come over there and try to make a good go of it. There's this whole colonial apparatus and this idea of progress, and it's a vicious machine. It plows a lot of people under, and a lot of people look for a respite and a place to hide from it. You can go and you can potlatch, and you can have ceremonies, or if you're feeling blue, you can work it out through music. I could rap my ass off when I'm got something that I got to work out. A lot of people lose that. A lot of people long for that, and we have that in a beautiful way. We have that other that we protect and that we nurture and that we don't let everybody into. The thrust of the whole American experiment was to come and make a buck. And that general idea just saturates everything. And what that results in is people being turned into commodities, and culture being turned into commodities, and precious land that has been taken care of for millennia being commodified. And there's not a heck of a lot of monetary value in things like the potlatch, right? So they tried their best to get rid of it. There wasn't a great deal of value in hunting and fishing for your own communities. So they banned that. There wasn't a whole lot of value to them in caring for the land and being seasonal travelers and all that. So they tried to put a stop to that too, and pull all of the stuff that didn't make a buck out of them and just leave people with husks of who they are, while these people come over desperate, hungry for something, thinking it's a buck that they need. In any people who have lived for a significant amount of time in a place, they necessarily would have had to come up with some beautiful ways of being over the millennia. And those were sold, those were discarded for the almighty dollar. So they're coming to look for ours after all this time. And I often say, take a look at the African American experience, and if you're ever at a loss and wanted to find that other, that sweet little something, know that African Americans were stripped down to sweet fuck all. And look what we created. We've got beauty, we've got depth, we've got music and culture. Despite it, they tore our families apart. They separated us, they criminalized us. All of the horrible things they could think to do were done. But we were able to create anew. Of course, there were a lot of beautiful things that very strong people held on to in their, makes a person emotional. The shit that people would have had to go through in order to just keep those beautiful things alive. Those names, those words, those ways of being. And even when they were forgotten entirely in a conscious sort of way, you do something long enough, it's in your blood, it's in your bones. It's who you are, and thank goodness for that. But man, I have struggled in a huge way because a lot of my ancestry come from shaky places.